Today's podcast episode is called I'll Never Blame God for His Kids. So without further ado, Danny, I want you to introduce yourself and I want you to tell your testimony. I want you to give, for the people who have never heard, for the 3 people that's watching who ain't never heard of you, I want you to tell them this porn the pulpit, like, I want you to just tell it. So go ahead. I'm going to shut up.
Okay. All right. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. You look good in your hood and holy hoodie, by the way. I'm rocking the shirt for those of you who is checking it out. The hood and holy. She's rocking it and she looks good in it. All righty, guys. My name is Evangelist Danielle Williams McCord. My story is mostly known for from porn to the pulpit. I am the author of it. However, that is my testimony. I went from porn to the pulpit. The Lord snatched me out of that industry and then brought me into the kingdom to go and snatch other people that are bound by sexual perversion and other things. I always tell people, before you judge somebody, you never know their story. We be so quick to put our mouths on people and we have no idea what storm they walk through. So when they see or hear ex-porn-star or ex-stripper, they automatically are saying, they think something negative. Why was she, but nobody realized that I was molested at 8 years old. Okay, by my babysitter son. My father, I was a daddy's girl. I lived with my dad, and my father suffered from bipolar disorder and schizophrenia. My father tried to kill me when I was 10 years old. Okay. And then at 12 years old, we had a neighbor, everybody's uncle, so-and-so, who lived across the street from us. And my neighbor raped me at 12. A year later, when I turned 13, I got pregnant by a 27-year-old pimp, and I got pregnant. I ended up giving birth and the baby passed away. The baby died in my arms. And from that point on, I became barren, miscarriage after miscarriage. 14 years old, ran away. I'm from LA. I grew up in Compton, California. So I'm hood and holy. Hello, somebody. But I grew up in the hood and I ran away from home. I started stripping at 14 years old and then decided, this is not the lifestyle I want to live. My grandparents grew up in, they are super, super religious people, Southern Baptist. And so church was something that I was always accustomed to, but it was no relationship. It was routine. And so while I was in that church, with my grandparents, my choir member, because I used to love to sing at the time. I thought I was little baby Whitney Houston or somebody. And I used to love to sing. So I joined the youth choir, and my choir member from my church introduced me to prostitution. My choir member from my church introduced me to prostitution when I was 15 years old. Not only did she introduce me to prostitution, but she also introduced me to drugs and alcohol. And so I became addicted to cocaine and ecstasy at 15, 16, 17 years old. I was stripping, I was prostituting, and if that wasn't enough, as soon as I turned 18 years old, I got involved in the porn industry. I did that for almost 2 years until my life was literally hanging on by a thread. I had been through so many things in the streets, people that are prostituting, drug dealing, just in the world. You always got to look over your back. You're always paranoid. You don't know every day that you wake up, if you're gonna make it back home. And that was the lifestyle that I lived. But this time was different from any other time. This man flew me from Los Angeles to New York, and he paid me to come. But this man had a plan for me. He had no plan to let me leave there. And so this man locked me up in the basement. He beat me. He raped me. He told me over and over again, "You're going to die. I'm going to kill you." And so again, I had been through situations in the streets before, but nothing was like this, Quonda. I knew that I was going to die. I was 19 years old in New York by myself with this crazy man locked up in the basement. But because I had some type of church in me, because there was still some type of seed that was planting on the inside of me, something in me said, pray. And I prayed like I never prayed before. And I said, Lord, if you get me out of this, because, we say that so many times, get me out of this, God, and I'll stop. If you do this for me, God, I'll do this. And we'll do it for a minute. And then we go right back to our filth, like a dog that returns to its vomit. And so I said it so many times, but this time I knew if he let me live, that I was done with it. And that's exactly what happened. The Lord saved my life, not at a church revival, not at somebody's conference, but in a dark, dirty New York basement. I ended up praying. I was able to get out of that basement. I flew back to Los Angeles, and I started telling my testimony, and then the testimony turned into ministry. And now I'm sitting here with Miss Quonda Renee for I Need a Word, okay?
Listen. Let me just say this. Your tribe, your people, they is really here for you, down for you. I see them in the comments. They checking somebody that said something slick. So you got a tribe, okay? You got the hood and holy tribe.
Listen, I got followers from near and far that they understand. For anybody, I can't see the comments, so I don't know who.
That's okay. We ain't worried
but
about
I'll
them.
say this: God, first of all, for where I came from, can't no comment, can't no naysayer, can't no hater stop me. That's the purpose. That's the whole title of this of tonight.
Exactly.
I'll never blame God for His kids. Can't nobody deter me or water down my testimony, water down my praise. Because if some people couldn't walk a corner in my shoes. Some of the things that I survived would have killed the next person. So anybody that has something negative to say about me, they the ones with the problem, okay? Because the stuff that I'm going through is a real testimony, and God has given me so much thick skin. So I'm so grateful for those who love me and who ride for me. But trust and believe, honey, that is like a water on a duck's back for me. You know what I mean? I've been through too much to let a naysayer or a hater or somebody with negative commentary move me.
Absolutely.
But thank you to my followers. That's
Listen, they in here deep. I'm just laughing and smiling. So shout out to your tribe, okay? Your people.
Right.
So let's talk about like all the stuff that you've been through. Going through the introduction to prostitution, and some of the stuff you learned from the church choir. Do you believe in church hurt? Because that's a thing right now. Everybody crying, oh, my pastor did this or this person did this, and I ain't dealing with God no more. I ain't going to church no more. So somebody that's been through all the things that you've been through, do you believe in church hurt? Help set us free tonight.
So that's a twofold question.
Okay.
I believe in church hurt, but I also believe church hurt is a cop-out and an excuse for us to return back into the world and into things that are not of God. Ain't nobody been more church hurt than me. And I know we're going to get into that with the preaching in pain and all of that stuff. I understand church hurt. I can understand how somebody, first of all, me coming out of the world, I held Christians and men and women of God, pastors and leaders. You hold them to, almost like you put them on a pedestal, and you hold them to a higher accountability. And so when you're already broken from the world, and then you come into the church thinking that this is a safe haven, and they mishandle you, or they prey on you instead of pray for you, or they dog you more than people in the streets did, or you know what I'm saying, you betrayed really by people in the church than you were ever by people in the streets. I get it. Church hurt is a real thing. However, church hurt has also become a clutch. Yeah. It has also become an excuse for people to live how they want to live. Well, you know what? Sister Strawberry hurt my feelings. Or you know what? Deacon Dirty did me wrong. So now I'm leaving church. I don't respect that. I don't dismiss what has happened to people within the confinement of the church. I don't dismiss that, because I've been let down, I've been betrayed, I've been hurt by people who claim to be Christians, people who go to church, people who hold titles. So I don't dismiss the fact that you can really be wounded by the church, but I also do not pacify the fact that you have left God because of what imperfect people have done within a building.
Amen. Amen. So anybody that's battling with church hurt, I hope y'all took what she just said and apply it to your life. And, never blame God for what his kids or his people do. Like, we're human. People got heart issues, battling different spirits. And I want to kind of move on a little bit from that. So I know that you have this new book. This is book number 3. Let me calm down. This is book number 3.
Book number 3.
And the title of the book is Preaching in Pain. So tell me how long you've been in, tell us how long you've been in ministry. How long you been doing ministry? How long?
11 years in April.
So you've been in the ministry for 11 years. So there's some things you done saw. There's some things you done encountered. I want you to tell me, describe preaching in pain. Like, what is preaching in pain? What does that look like?
Preaching in pain, I guess this is for those who cry church hurt, but never realize the pastor's pain. They never realize that the preacher that has to encourage and preach every single week, that have to do your weddings, baptize your babies, that have to show up to your funerals, that have to pray you through your hospital bed. Nobody realizes the preacher's pain. All they need is for you to show up. And if you don't, I'm church hurt. So I needed to write preaching in pain for two reasons. For one, it was to leave those who are claiming that they're church hurt with no excuse, because I tell my story and what I went through and how none of that ever deterred me or made me look at God any kind of way because of what imperfect people did to me or what I've experienced within ministry. But then I also wrote it because there are too many preachers, leaders, prayer warriors, prayer intercessors, armor bearers, praise and worship leaders, ushers who are suffering in silence because they have nobody that they can be vulnerable with. We feel like because we are ordained or because we have a title that we are Superman, but even Superman had to take his cape off. And so there are a lot of preachers who commit suicide. There are a lot of preachers who will close their church down because they have suffered in silence to the point of suicide, or to the point where they done and it ain't no coming back from. And I got to that point, Quonda. I was saved, as you talk about my tribe and my followers that have my back. I got 40-some thousand followers on Facebook. I got probably 8,000 or 9,000 on Instagram. I got people that's been rocking with me since I started almost 11 years ago. And nobody knew that I was saved, sanctified, and suicidal. Nobody knew that I was anointed and about to lose my mind. Because we felt like, because I'm so-and-so, and because I'm evangelist, because I'm bishop, because I'm apostle, because I'm prophet so-and-so, I cannot express or let out what it is that I'm fighting. Because at the end of the day, a pastor, a preacher, or a leader's role is to take on the weight of everybody else. And so after you have taken on the weight and the problems and the sorrows of all your sheep, you still are left with your own demons. And if you don't deal with your own demons, your own sadness, your own depression, your own childhood traumas, it'll sneak up on you and that thing will take you out. And so I needed to write this book, first of all, to tell people, listen, you ain't been more church hurt than me, because I was church hurt before ministry. I was church hurt in ministry, and yet I still never turned my back on my assignment or my God. And then I needed to write it because I needed to let some pastor know, some preacher know that no, you're not by yourself. I understand. I've been doing this thing for quite a while, and I understand. But it is your responsibility to take whatever sabbatical, whatever mental, emotional break. If you need to sit on somebody's couch, whatever it is, because you matter too. And I think the people have forgotten that it's just pastor, pick me. But who's praying for the leaders? Hallelujah. Who's calling the leaders? Say, you know what? You giving money for the kids on Christmas. You feeding the hungry. You giving money to the widows. You're doing everything. You don't even get no sleep. You're not even with your own kids. Your marriage is on the rocks because you're out here helping everybody else. You're always traveling. You're an itinerant preacher. Let me sow into you. Let me send you on vacation. Let me come and pray for you. Can I come and help you? We don't have that. And there are so many people in the body. That's why we have seen a lot of preachers get on live and cuss everybody out. We've seen preachers get on, and I can't stand it. But they have reached their breaking point. And I don't condone that. I think they out of order, and it's an embarrassment to the kingdom. However, when you have nobody to turn to, or you feel like you have nobody to turn to, you'll reach your breaking point.
Amen. So listen. So y'all, she has this book, her latest book. It just dropped, right?
I only release pre-orders. So, first of all, get into this cover, okay?
Listen. Preaching in pain, y'all. So we're gonna dip a little bit in the book, but y'all gonna have to buy the book. If y'all want the real tea, y'all gonna have to buy the book. But I'm gonna dip into it a little bit. So a part of your testimony is being barren, right? Mm-hmm. And in the book, you talk about being pregnant by a mega pastor who told you to get an abortion. So after looking back on that, How do you feel knowing that you was barren and somebody that you was in relationship or covenant with that you looked up to told you to get an abortion?
Again, I was a babe in Christ, so I'll get a little bit into this story. I go into depth. You read the book, so you know I go into more details. I go into a lot of details. Listen, and this wasn't not to out nobody. This wasn't to expose anybody. This was to tell my truth and what I went through. You understand what I'm saying? And to help somebody young in ministry.
It's not on Amazon. Somebody's asking, is it on Amazon? No, you have to go.
Not on Amazon.
The link should be in the comments. Keita, make sure you pin the link to the book in the comments.
Melissa, if you're here, Keita,
yeah, she's been throwing it.
Yes, go ahead and post the link. The pre-orders are only available on my website. And so I'm the only one that has the book. I wish you guys could see my office. I got books and mail packages and all that. We've been running back and forth to the post office all week. For those who have already did their pre-orders, they're on the way. And there are only a few more books. I only ordered so many printed copies. Just as a teaser before we do the hard launch. And so I get into this story in depth in the book, but the reason why I told it was because there are so many young people in ministry who they had somebody that they looked up to. You know what I mean? And whether it was, and I'm just going to throw these names out. This has nothing to do with these people, so don't try to piece it together. But people like T.D. Jakes and, you know, Bishop Noel Jones and Bishop Jackie McCullough, you know, you look up to certain people like that. And then you have to be careful because, and this has nothing to do with them, I'm using that as an example. You have to be careful because while your intention is, wow, this person has inspired me, when you meet them, there may be a different motive on their end. And that's what happened. There was a mega pastor who I had admired, who from afar, from television, watching him on TV, you know, I was really drawn to his anointing, drawn to his preaching. And then I had an opportunity to meet him as a babe in ministry. I wasn't in ministry 2 minutes, you know, and I met him at a place where I was telling my testimony, and me and him connected, and I'm thinking, wow, he's going to mentor me. He's going to help me.
He was mentored, all right.
Yeah, he mentored, all right. And so, long story short, being young in ministry, I was manipulated because, again, we hold certain preachers and certain people in the body to a higher extent, which we should be, because leaders are supposed to be held to a higher account. You're not supposed to be living raggedy if you're a preacher. You're not supposed to be living raggedy if you're an armor bearer, if you're a prayer intercessor. There are rules to this. There's levels to this. If you want to still live in the world, the Bible talks about the lukewarm Christian. And so when you become a leader, you're supposed to change, and you should be living to a higher standard. And so I thought that that's what I was meeting. And then it didn't turn out like that. And, you know, I ain't bashing nobody because I wasn't forced. I spread my legs from Genesis to Revelation. For those of you women who like to come and expose preachers when you get mad. No, if you are a willing partner, you need to take accountability too. So I take accountability for the fornication because I was wrong. I wasn't married to this man. You know what I'm saying? I did what I did. However, I did not know the intent. We women, we young, we're vulnerable, we're impressionable, and we think because a man has a title and because he's in leadership, oh, he gonna marry me. And so that's what I thought. And we end up being intimate. Me and this what do you call it, a mega pastor. Me and this mega pastor, we became intimate, and I did end up getting pregnant. When I told him, I was advised to have an abortion, and it kind of threw me for a loop because, first of all, as leaders, we don't advertise or advocate for killing babies.
Right.
That's not what we do. That's not the first go-to. You understand what I'm saying? So I was thrown off, but that was an experience that I walked through, and I learned from that. It taught me a lot, but, you know, I lost the baby in the midst of it. It messed with my mind as far as leadership and men in the church in positions, you know what I mean? But again, I still never blame God for his kids.
That's it right there. And let me just say a couple things. I seen somebody in the comments was saying that Danny was suicidal because of her sin. Absolutely not. We're talking about a time period of 10 years. So this is stuff that happened. We're talking about things that happened in the beginning of the ministry and throughout the ministry. So before you get on here trying to, throw little jabs. Yeah. And another thing is, Another thing is she does not name names in the book. Okay,
No.
she does not name names in the book. So I just won't say that because I don't like some of that foolishness. So anyway,
Tell all this is not. I'm not Superhead. I'm not. This is not Confessions of a Video Vixen. This is just my story and what I went through and the part that I played in a lot. See, sometimes we play a role in our own calamity.
absolutely.
We play a role in our own heartbreak. We play a role in our own situations. And so, yeah, I was young. Yeah, I was new to ministry. And no, as far as the suicidal, for somebody who said, and I can't read the comments, but somebody who said, well, she was suicidal because of sin. Absolutely not. This book, I've been in ministry for almost 11 years. So this book talks about just the overall. It's not, you got to read it. Don't assume, read the book.
So another thing in the book that you talk about a lot is betrayal. Like if anybody knows betrayal, it's you. So I kind of want you to talk about, not so much like you could mention some of your betrayals if you want to, but I want you to kind of minister to somebody that's dealing with betrayal. How did you overcome betrayal? Because you talk about spiritual monsters in the book, people that was under you and they became somebody else. I think you even mentioned witches a couple times. So I want you to just speak to betrayal and tell your story.
Well, again, this goes back to the church hurt thing. And this is what I'm saying. Everybody's crying church hurt, but nobody understands the preacher's pain. Nobody understands. You may have been betrayed by Sister Strawberry because she set somebody else in your seat. The usher was mean to you and you didn't want to come back to church. But I went through real Judas experiences. I went through real Judas experience. I'm from the streets. I gave y'all I'm from the streets. I was a stripper. I was a gangbanger. I sold drugs. And I had people more loyal to me in the streets than in the church. And it blew my mind. I had people who I had never, ever gone through any type of betrayal, any type of shadiness until I got into church and I started kingdom relationships with spiritual brothers and spiritual sisters and spiritual mothers and all that type of stuff. Then I experienced what Jesus did when Judas came to kiss him in the Garden of Gethsemane. I felt that. I understand them. I read that story and I'll be like, Lord, I get it, because it's different. And that was David who said it wasn't a stranger or an enemy who did this to me. That thing right there. When I tell you, I understand. See, it's one thing to read the Bible, but it's another thing to experience what it's talking about. And so I have gone through real life experiences, and I understand. That's why I'm telling you, ain't nothing like a real relationship with God. Because when you have a real relationship with God, come hell or high water, nothing will interfere with that. And I went through real betrayal by kingdom people, by leaders and things of that nature. And I still never blame God for his kids. Still never blame me.
I feel you. So where are you now? Because I know the book talks about, your last 10 years in ministry. Are you still preaching in pain? Where are you now? Like, just kind of let us know.
So, okay, I'm going to be transparent. Oh, girl, you got too many followers for me to cry. Listen,
it's okay. We'll cry together.
I had not been preaching in pain for a long time. God bless me. I said I was barren, but then God blessed me with a miracle son, January 31st, 2019. I had my son. And so, just everything was just going great. I was doing my ministry was fine after all those people, after all those experiences. Anytime you're broken, God will come back and build you. You see, or anything that was removed is always replaced. Anything that was lost will always be gained in another area. And so after all those losses, again, this is a 10-year span. So after all those things, I had been great. Marriage, finances, my son, ministry, everything was great. But recently, my world just got like flipped upside down because everybody, if you know me, you know my bishop. because I honored my man of God privately and publicly. So you better watch some of these followers that only love you in private, but they
Jesus.
act like they don't know you in public. No, I loved my bishop, which is my spiritual father, for these last 10 years. He was my accountability. I was accountable to this man. He was my leader, my covering. And we're in the midst of a pandemic. And on April 8th, which is my ministry anniversary, it made 10 years this year, my spiritual father died. So every year moving forward, that is supposed to be a celebration for me. It's going to always be a reminder of the greatest loss in my life. You know, there are some pastors that you only have access to Sunday at church.
Yeah.
But this man was my father in the pulpit, out of the pulpit, on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And he played a big role in my life. And then he just died suddenly. I mean, like suddenly. And it really it knocked the wind out of me, you know. And so I quit ministry again. I was done. I was done. And that's what I talk about in the books. I had to go back and add a chapter. I had to go back and add a chapter because I said, what do you do? Who do you turn to when you're mad at God?
Jesus.
Where do you go when you're vexed with the Almighty God? Because I was angry with God. Here I am. I'm not asking for cars, money, and material things. But when he got sick, I said, Lord, just save my bishop, save my daddy. He's my father. Save him, save him. We were praying relentlessly, fasting, praying, believing, and then he died. And so I was angry with God, and I wasn't preaching. I turned down engagements. I was just numb. And so then God had to check me and say, don't allow your grief to turn into witchcraft.
Oh my God.
He said, I know you're hurt, but don't allow your grief to turn into witchcraft. Don't you become rebellious because I'm making moves that you don't agree with. And so he had to check my spirit real quick because he said, I know you love your bishop, but it was me who died for you. It was me who you called on in that basement. He had to check me. And so I said, okay, God, I'll get back on my assignment. And so here it is. I started preaching again with a broken heart. I started preaching and encouraging those who have lost people in this pandemic, who have lost people to coronavirus, who have lost people to cancer and heart attack and diabetes and just old age, young age, gun violence, whatever. And I had to minister to them while I was still broken that somebody so near and dear to me had died. And so I was like, okay, this not fair. This not fair because haven't I already gone through enough? The book done. I talked about everything that broke my heart. And then I encouraged the people at the end and how to get through it. And you mean to tell me there's another blow that I then had to go back and add another chapter to say, listen. So we done went through all that. We done went through church hurt. We done went through preaching in pain. We done went through betrayal. We done went through dirty leaders. We done went through church people, all that type of stuff. But now I got to go in and add a chapter and minister to those who have lost somebody near and dear. And so, yes, I had to still preach in pain. I had to encourage those and pray for those and prophesy to those and be there for those, for people in the midst of my own grieving period. You know? Jesus. And here we are in the holidays. You know, this is our first holiday without them. So yeah. You still got to do it. At the end of the day, God never promised that we will live a life without trials and tribulations. He never promised. As a matter of fact, he prepared us for what was coming. And so we can't be surprised or shocked when we are hit with the storms of life because he tells us that they are coming. However, your feelings don't have nothing to do with your assignment.
Wow. So I know I didn't ask you this question before. I'm going to ask you now. Like, what's your greatest lesson over the last 10 years? Like, if you could drop a gem from somebody who's been in ministry or starting up in ministry, what would be your greatest lesson?
I just looked at the thing. It said our screen was blank.
Oh my gosh. The devil is trying to
nobody mad.
Jay.
Nobody mad.
Oh my God.
But the devil. So I don't know what happened with that. Are you seeing it on your side?
Let me see. I see it still moving. Let me just double check.
Yeah, the screen went blank. Somebody said it went blank. And I just looked at it. I don't know what happened.
I can't. But you know what?
Okay, but anyway.
Okay, somebody
We
said
good.
no, it's not. Okay. We're
Okay,
gonna keep
good.
going.
Okay. So what say that question again?
What's your greatest lesson over the last 10 years of doing ministry?
My greatest lesson was finding out about me. That see, every trial, if you don't, they say every L that you take should turn into a lesson. And so every trial or every L that I took, it built more character in me, because I have what you call a Compton demon. You know what I mean? I came out, I was angry. I'm from the hood, I'm from the streets, and so I'm aggressive, and I talk with passion, and I'm very, I'm hard. And so when things were happening to me, it was humbling my spirit, because I couldn't react out of that old man. See, my favorite scripture is 2 Corinthians 5:17. If any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things have passed away. Behold, all things are new. And so you can't be saying, I'm new. God changed my life. God snatched me out of the pit. And yet you are still reacting out of your old man. And so every time I was betrayed, I wanted to pull up, because that was the old me. I would have pulled up. Every time I lost money behind some raggedy preacher that came to rob my ministry, I wanted to pull up. And so I just was learning stuff about myself. Everything that I went through, it was humbling my spirit. It was making me humble. It was tearing down flesh. It was crucifying my flesh. It was teaching me and showing me that I'm stronger than what I thought I was.
Jesus.
And so these last 10 years has been a reflection of who I am and whose I am. And
Jesus.
so, yes, I have walked through the fire. I have walked through the storm, because see, people, they read these books. Here go all three. Here go all three. They'll read these books, Quonda, and they'll say her story is so good. They'll watch these interviews and they'll say her story is so good. Oh my gosh, she's so inspirational. But you fail to realize I really walked through this thing.
Yeah.
It's a good read for you, but I really lived this.
My
and
God.
So every negative comment, every naysayer, every hater that got something to say, I really walked through the trenches, and I survived things that would have killed. As a matter of fact, some of my homeboys and homegirls and girls that I walk the streets with are dead, or they have HIV.
Jesus.
And God kept me. I really came from the trenches. You feel me? I really lived this thing. And so while people are making jokes or giving their opinion, some people can't survive a minute in the things that I come through from
Yeah.
a little girl. And so I thank God that everything that I went through, it broke down flesh, and it taught me where my help was coming from. For every friend that betrayed me, I called on God. For
Jesus.
every time I took a loss, I called on God. For every time I was depressed because I lost a baby, I called on God. It built my spirit, man. And so a lot of our trials and tribulations, it's not coming as a punishment, but it's coming to process us. I've been processed through the storm. I've been processed through every chaos. I've been processed through every L. And so 10 years of progression, of strength, and of giving me a stronger relationship with God, because it brought me to my knees. And when your problems bring you to your knees, you're in the perfect posture.
Jesus. My God. So today is Cyber Monday. Tell the people what you got going on for Cyber Monday. Tell them about your stuff.
Well,
her name is Danielle Williams McCord. For those asking in the comments, Evangelist Danielle Williams McCord. Put some respect on her name.
Put some respect on my name.
Respect.
No, so basically, I do have 3 books. Again, Barren. Now let me tell you something. Barren is for those couples, men, women who are struggling to have children, who have been told by doctors that you'll never have a baby. This is to encourage you, because I've been told the same thing, that I couldn't have a child and God blessed me with a miracle. But not even from a natural baby. For those of you who have been miscarrying your spiritual babies, you can't birth the bill, you can't birth the church, you can't birth the book, you can't birth the school, you can't birth the, you've been miscarrying in the spirit and in the natural. This is for you. Okay. And then from porn to the pulpit was the first one. This is the one that talks about my lifestyle in the porn industry, in the strip club, the molestation, the rape, the absence of a father, all of that, alcoholism, drug use, gang banging, all that. It tells this you want all that for y'all.
My
struggling.
sister loved that
This
book.
is it. And then the newest edition is Preaching in Pain. I wrote this for the leaders. I wrote this for those who are in ministry in some kind of capacity, whether you're a preacher, a bishop, an apostle, a praise and worship leader, a prayer intercessor, or armor bearer, a usher, whatever capacity you serve in, but you have gone through and you have had your own demons, your own battles, and you feel like I don't know what to do. You don't have to suffer in silence no more. Okay. And so because it's Cyber Monday, you can have all three of them. I think all three of these books is like $65. I'm letting them go on a bundle just for today. I started on Friday. The bundle deal is just $40.
Jesus, you giving it away.
I know.
3 books for $40. Listen, y'all better get on that. 3 books for $40, and it's gonna help you. You gotta invest in your spiritual life, y'all, for real. Somebody asked, they said they heard that you help write books. You still doing that?
I do help write and publish books as well. Go ahead and go to my website and send a email to the website, and we can help you with that.
Melissa, put the website up for me. Somebody asked
www.dwmministries.com.
Somebody asked, did you have a play? Yes, she's the one with the play. She coming to Apollo real soon.
Yes. Okay, so this book From Porn to the Pulpit has been turned into a theatrical production, into a stage play. We did 2 shows in Atlanta. We did a show in Baton Rouge, and then I got pregnant with my miracle baby, and so we shut it down. We were coming back this year, then the pandemic hit, and so yes, it is coming to a theater near you. I did turn this into a play. Hopefully one day it will be a movie. Y'all pray for me, y'all.
It's gonna
y'all
be a movie. Listen,
that it'll
we ain't hoping, and we know it's gonna be a movie. And I want to say about the barren story. I remember, and I think this was before that me and you even became cool, but we were following each other on Facebook. But I remember when you first posted like the video of your reaction getting pregnant. When I tell you, I was crying because I felt like you took one for the team. Like I was like, oh my God, like we're pregnant. You know what I mean? I didn't even know you like that. But like that's how connected I was to the story, because I knew like that was something that you were trying to do. So like, like if God did it for her. Yeah.
And listen, in this book, I talk about being talked about. Listen, me and Hannah, we like this.
Listen.
Because I've had real paninas, panini. I had real ones. I had real experiences where I was like Hannah saying, Lord, bless me with a baby. Would you just give me a son? And I had people who laughed at me and talked about me because I could not bear children. You understand? I walked through this thing, and I still never blame God for his kids.
Jesus.
So I need you to understand. Don't nobody know church hurt and betrayal like me. Ain't nobody been. Listen, show me somebody that once you read this, and I didn't imagine the stuff that I did not tell. Imagine the stuff that I did not tell, and the people that I still covered, even though they did me wrong. See, if you want to be Christ-like, you got to cover those who tried to kill you. That's real ministry. When you got to cover those who tried to kill you, cover those who tried to cut you. And so these are not tell-all books. These are just to share my testimony of things that I had to walk through. And yet God always showed up in the end.
Jesus. Somebody was asking, I don't even know if you want to get into this tonight, but they wanted to know your experience with witches coming up against you.
Listen, I wish a witch would. Listen. Hello? I wish a witch would. Oh, witch. Listen. I love them because, listen, I am a deliverance preacher and I am a spiritual warfare fanatic. I love them. I want them all. Come witches, warlocks, demons, imps, simps, all of them. Come on, because that is what I specialize in: spiritual warfare and deliverance. Okay.
They are cracking up in the comments. Her Facebook page is Danielle Williams McCord. That's her Facebook page. They are cracking up.
I wish a witch would. I love a witch.
So what else? I can't even focus. What else you got going on? We got the book, you got the bundle deals. If they don't want to buy all the books at one time, they can still buy them separately. They're just gonna pay a little bit more.
Listen, if you don't want to, the main thing is these this is the From Porn to the Pulpit and Barren are available on Amazon and my website. This one is not. This is exclusive. The Preaching in Pain is only available for pre-orders, and I think we only got like 200 and something more books that are available. Once they're gone, they're gone. Until I decide that I want to release them. We are having a Preaching in Pain conference, Lord willing, in Los Angeles. I don't know what's going on with this pandemic, if it's gonna what they're doing. But prayerfully by April we'll be able to continue with the conference, and then they'll be available again April of next year. But right now, Preaching in Pain is only available for pre-orders. So definitely, you can always get the other ones if you can't get them today. Definitely get the Preaching in Pain, if not for yourself, but for your pastor. Because you don't know what they're going through. For your praise and worship leader, for your armor bearer, for your intercessor, because you have no idea what they are facing. You understand what I'm saying? People, you have no. If you Google how many preachers committed suicide this year alone, the number is astounding.
Yeah.
And so this book right here is needed, especially in this time with so much depression that's going on in the land and so much chaos that's going on in the land. They need this.
Yeah. So y'all make sure y'all get the books because they gonna sell out. They already sold out. This is like your second or third order?
Yeah, the first ones they gone. The people that's watching, they're like, "Where my book?" Listen, what did I tell you right before we started? I said I'm at the post office.
Yeah.
I'm on my way. We've been mailing books. So they are coming, and then like I said, once these last little books are gone, that's it.
Okay, so y'all, you could check out the books. It should be pinned in the comments. If you want the Barren or Porn to Pulpit, you can get those off of Amazon. If you want to purchase all three, she has a Cyber Monday deal. You can purchase them on Melissa and Keita. Just keep dropping the links because I just don't see people asking. Do you want to take a couple questions, or are you ready to go?
Say that again.
Do you want to take a couple questions, or are you ready to go?
Yeah, let's go. Don't listen. Don't try me. Try Jesus with your questions. But let's go do Q&A.
How do you cover the people that hurt you? That's a good one.
Ooh,
that's a good one.
Listen, that's a great question, Michelle. Let me tell you something. I just said that if you want to be Christ-like, you have to cover the people that cut you. The Bible says for us to pray for our enemies. Let me tell you something. That was a true challenge for me, and it still is, if I'm gonna be honest, because that's who I am. Okay, my mama should have named me Truth and Honesty, because I'm gonna give you that. It is very hard to try to not retaliate against those who have purposely tried you, who have purposely come to buffet you. And so 10 years of going through that, I had to learn that it's bigger than them, and every betrayal is tied to my blessing. And God is watching your reaction. God is watching how you respond. And so yes, they are coming. There is people that, listen, as long as you are saved, there is going to be people that's going to hurt you, backstab you, use you, lie on you, talk about you, because they did it to Jesus. And see, everybody want to be Christ-like until it's time to be crushed. And so you have to just learn to develop a behavior to where you are no longer retaliating or pulling up, but you're praying that God will have mercy, for they know not what
Jesus. I mean, that pull-up spirit was kind of heavy on me last year. You know, I went through some things, and like the Lord he taught me character. He taught me character, because it's usually the people that do you wrong. You know, they ain't really about that life and stuff, and they just get on social media and they start acting up. I'm gonna let that one go. But somebody said they was literally only 76 left in stock when they grabbed theirs. It was 81. So people are buying them.
Well, thank y'all for the support. Listen, people don't have to be kind to you.
Absolutely.
You don't have to support anybody. And so I'm grateful. People think that you owe them something. So anytime somebody, that's why I was so shocked with the first pre-orders that sold out in less than 24 hours, because people don't have to be kind to you, especially in the pandemic. People are laid off and going through. They don't have to be kind. They don't have to support. And so I'm truly grateful. But the thing is, when I tell you that these books will minister to you, they will minister. I didn't write them just to give you tea. But at the end of every book, there is a ministry strategy, and I do encourage you all to get them while they are available.
Somebody asked what was on the shirt and the hoodies. This is Hood and Holy, y'all. You can check that out too on her site. Somebody said pull up and I wish a witch would on a shirt. You know what? That might be good.
I might. You know what?
Listen,
that might work.
When the people tell you what they're going to buy, do it. Somebody says, how was your spiritual transition from a porn star to a servant and powerful woman of God? That's good.
So I talk about it and from porn to the pulpit and in preaching in pain. God just threw me in the deep end with no life jacket and told me to swim. And that's just what it is. He just dropped me in the deep end of the ocean and said, swim. I'm gonna be with you. I ain't gonna let you drown. And that's what happens sometimes. Many are called, but few are chosen. And when you are chosen, you ain't got time to get ready. You just have to be ready. And so when I came out of the porn industry, when I came out of the strip club, I just wanted to be a Christian.
Right.
I just wanted to be saved because I said, Lord, I love you and you saved me too many times. And I know if I go back, I'm going to either get AIDS or I'm going to die. So I just want to live right. Let me go give me a little job and live my little quiet life. And he said, no, because a lot of times when we go through things, it's not for ourselves, but it's for somebody else. It's to help somebody else. And so I just had to learn how to swim and trust that he wouldn't allow me to drown. And so, again, that was over almost 13 years ago coming out of the industry. So.
Wow. Somebody said, did God start dealing with you while you were stripping?
Absolutely, because I was a hypocrite. What's that? I love God and I believed in the word. I went to church, but I was a sinner. But I still felt the power of conviction because I knew my lifestyle wasn't right. But I was getting it in. I was young. I was like, I got my whole life. And that's the lie we tell each other. I'll get it right later. But then I had friends that died at 21. I had friends that died at 18. And so I had told myself this lie that I'll get it right later until I was about to lose my life. And so he was dealing with me already. Like, you need to stop. But I was like, well, I like this bag. I like the lifestyle that comes with it. And I was addicted to the lifestyle. And so I would override my conviction with drugs and alcohol. And I would try to silence my spirit with drugs and alcohol until I couldn't silence it no more.
Wow. Somebody asked how long is shipping. Y'all got to be mindful that this is holiday season. So the post office, they're going to have their own cutoff.
Listen,
so you order.
The post office line is wrapped around
that's what I'm saying.
Corner. And that's then we just had Thanksgiving. So it's a delay, but they should be coming. They definitely should be coming this week.
Somebody said you need to make your own dictionary.
I know.
You do come up with some stuff. You do come up with some stuff. Any more questions, y'all? I love y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. Anything else? What else did you need to tell the people? You told them about your Cyber Monday deal. 3 books for $40, y'all. Where else you gonna get that? Where else you gonna get that?
I know. And it's
you know what? After we get off live, I'm gonna tell her about herself for doing it that cheap.
She gonna get me, but I got a heart for the people. I want them to read this book. I'm telling you, I don't want y'all to just listen. It's all good for buying the book and supporting, but I want you to actually read the book. Yeah, I want you to actually give it to somebody that you know is going through it. Because when I tell you this is me, some people ain't walking into church buildings right now, even though some churches are open. Some people are not going to church, but they'll pick up this book, and I'm telling you, they'll feel the power of God. You read the book. Tell me what you think.
Let me say this. When I read the book, I felt like me and you was talking. Like, I hear your voice.
I wrote it in my voice. I was not proper.
It's the same language. Yeah, the same language. I'm like this. I'm just having a conversation with Daddy. I think the book is powerful. I think you just never know what leaders go through behind the scenes. I always talk about the stuff people don't know behind the scenes. And then you still have to maintain a face in front of other people, especially when you have a platform. So I commend you. I really love you and I respect you. And, one thing I was telling my assistant, I said, but when I do the live with Danny, I have to say this. I want to apologize to you on behalf of the body of Christ, on behalf of leaders, on behalf of people that did you wrong. that didn't represent my father. And I'm sorry you had to experience that. And I'm trying not to cry right now, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize on behalf of every leader, every fake friend, everybody who came to you in the name of Jesus and did you wrong. I'm sorry.
God. Wow, you're gonna make a thug cry.
Listen, they in here giving you ideas for t-shirts.
Listen,
Put
and
X
I
a Christian on a shirt.
yeah, and yeah, because that's definitely my go-to. But listen, I appreciate that. There's only been one other person that ever did that. And so it really it is near and dear to my heart because we make it a habit of tearing down people and being so insensitive to other people's drama and trauma. And so I thank you for that. And that means a lot because I went through some stuff with God's kids, some baby kids of his. You know, I went through some stuff, but I want to leave the people with this. As long as you breathing, there's gonna be somebody that do you wrong.
Yeah.
There's going to be somebody that's going to hurt you in some kind of way. And no, it's not fair, but it's life. But I want to say this, the church is the only one that will blame God for the actions of imperfect people. Yeah. There's people on your job that you cannot stand, but you still hit that clock. There are people that you don't like, at the teachers you don't like, the classmates that you don't like, but you still go to school every day. There are always people that you cannot, that you may not vibe with or that you do not like, and yet the church is the only place that you will forsake your assignment and your relationship with God because of what imperfect people have done. Once you read these books, if you read these books, or if you just listen to my testimonies, I have gone through more church hurt and been preaching in pain for a long time, and yet I've never ever allowed it to interact with my assignment or my relationship with God. Yeah. And so I need you to understand that. And I hope that it even convicts your spirit for those of you who are like, I ain't been back to church because Sister Strawberry or Deacon Dirty or Brother Bernard hurt my feelings or did me like this. I'm not saying that they were not wrong. I'm not dismissing your hurt. But what I am saying, when you stand before God and Jesus, he asks you, why were you not on your post? Why were you not doing what I called you to do? Your excuse because of what somebody else did will not be good enough.
Jesus, I want to go to this last question because I feel like this is kind of important. Somebody said, how was the deliverance process? What exactly did you experience?
It was the most painful thing in my life because deliverance is the stripping. It's stripping. And it's like I almost had to watch myself. It was like an outer body experience. I walked into the church a porn star. I walked into the church a gangbanger. I walked into the church a fornicator, an adulterer, involved in lesbianism, drugs, alcohol. I walked into the church with all of that. And so deliverance is literally a stripping away of habits that you've become accustomed to. And so some of that stuff is painful and it is extreme, but it is so necessary. It was hard. But it was necessary. And if I had to do it all over again, I would.
It was necessary. It's an insider, y'all. So, oh my God, y'all. So we you got anything else you want to mention? Anything else you got going on? You want the people to know? If not, it's going to be a wrap. Get the book, Preaching in Pain. Pre-order it today. You could get the bundle there, $40 for 3 books. All her books. You signing the books too?
They are signed.
They signed, sealed, and ready to go. Signed, sealed, delivered. Let's go.
You're going to bundles right here. So those who are getting bundles, they will be put in boxes tonight and sent off tomorrow because all of the other pre-orders, they're gone. They out of my hands. Thank God. It was so many, but I hand signed all of them because I wanted to make sure that I didn't leave anybody out, but they are gone. They are gone. So now it will just be whatever we get in tonight, we'll get rid of tomorrow. And yeah.
Y'all sell her out. Sell her out. Dry her up. Dry her up so she ain't got one book left.
I know, right?
People keep asking, where are you? She's in Atlanta. Y'all, let me ask y'all this. If she open up a church, y'all gonna come? Who gonna come to Danny Church? She open up a church.
Y'all gonna
come? I think a lot of them gonna show up. So, I think a lot of them gonna
Listen, the Lord dealing with me. He dealing with me. I've been running for a long time because I didn't want to pastor at all.
I understand why.
Hello, somebody. I didn't want to be no shepherd to no sheep, no goats, no chickens, no cats. I didn't want to do it. But the Lord has shifted my assignment, and I can't run no more. I'm out of breath. He didn't call up to me. So we're working on it. We definitely, me and my husband are definitely working on it. So we'll see what happens in the near future.
Near future. Church, Melissa said, church coming real soon. Ros, Gaba, speak it.
Oh, God.
Well, listen, y'all, I had super fun. This was my first episode. Danny, thank you so much for being here with me. I'm super, super excited about everything you got going on. You know, I love you. You my sister, y'all. And so I'll be back next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to have Dr. Medina Pullins in the building. So make sure y'all get Danny's books. Make sure y'all sell her out. Y'all want these hoodies, Hood and Holy. And this, you know, this Hood and Holy, I think it represents our relationship. Because you be the hood. You'll be the hood one, and I come through like love.
Definitely. And for those who say, well, why would somebody put that? Let me tell you what Hood and Holy.
Say that because they've been saying it.
Because they're like, why would somebody inbox me and said, of all things, why Hood and Holy? First of all, that's why I know you don't know me for real. If you know me for real, you know the reason why I put Hood and Holy is because I'm from the hood. I'm from the streets. However, had I not gone through the hood experiences, it would have never allowed me to be holy. And so this is the thing. A lot of where we come from, it has built us. A lot of the things that we went through in our neighborhoods and in our life in the streets, it has introduced us to holiness. And so that's what it stands for. It's hood. I'm from the hood. I'm from the streets. But because of those experiences, I am now living a holy life. And so that's what it stands for. That's what it represents. And then I'm still hood. I'm from Compton. I can't get rid of it. It's just in me. You know, so it's okay to be a deacon from Detroit. It's okay to be a Christian from Compton, okay? So it just represents so much. So that's why I came up with that. So yeah.
I thank you for saying that because they've been saying it in the comments. I've been trying to like not to get into some of these comments, but thank you for saying that. So y'all, all right, y'all, it's a wrap. We done been up here for an hour. Danny, again, thank you for coming on the show today, y'all. This podcast episode was sponsored by DWN Ministries, and they gave me this hot Hood and Holy hoodie. If you want the hoodie, make sure you get the hoodie, get the shirt, get all 3 books for $40. You know what, y'all? As soon as we get off here, I'm gonna kick her for giving them for $40.
Bundle deal will be over at midnight.
So, all right, y'all got till midnight to get them 3 books for $40. That's it. Midnight, that's it. All right, y'all. Have a good night. Love you.
Thank you.